Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of Vampire the Masquerade Beyond Armageddon. Before we begin, I'd like to make a few announcements. First, please consider checking out the new upcoming V5 book, Sabbat the Schism. Not only does it delve into the history and lore of the sect, it opens up multiple role-playing options for fans of the game, including new playable clans, elder level powers, and much more. You can find a preview of Sabbat the Schism in the link below. Second, I'd like to thank RS Experiments, aka Mark, our local musical talent, for graciously providing the custom music you've been enjoying so far, including our awesome main theme song called Haven Dweller. If you enjoy any of the music used during the stream and you'd like to hear more, you can find a full library of Mark's work by clicking the link below to RS Experiments' SoundCloud page. Lastly, if you enjoy tonight's session and you'd like to see more, be sure to follow both our channels. You can catch us live most Sundays at 7 p.m. CET by tuning in to twitch.tv/RSAGames, or check out all our recorded sessions at RSA Games on YouTube. Links below. Remember to like, subscribe, and be sure to leave us feedback and suggestions in the comments below. We hope you enjoy the session, and without further ado, let us delve into the world of darkness in tonight's episode of Vampire the Masquerade Beyond Armageddon. We return. Welcome back. We join, this time, Jack, as he drives through the streets of downtown quite carefully, keeping watch in his surroundings, making sure he's not being followed or hasn't been seen. Jack, as you drive through, you think on what happened prior to this night. How your contact within the Camarilla, La Sombra anti-tribu called Mr. Taffington, how he told you of a location that would be useful to him that you'd clear out, along with the request that you question the head of the organization there to gain some information on events that have passed prior. As you start to approach the location that was given to you, what are your thoughts?
How much more can I get from it? Like at which point it could become like unreasonable investment, so to speak.
Well, Certainly a provoking thought. A very La Sombra vibe thought,
Yes, of course.
definitely. Um, and as this thought sort of runs through your mind and you examine the ins and outs of the situation, you approach the location that was given to you. Seems like it's sort of this bar that is attached to the back of a warehouse. You studied the location beforehand on Google Maps, and the bar itself has a back that is attached to the warehouse. And it seems from your research that the owner of the bar also owns the warehouse. So you'd wager, given your knowledge of the way crime works and how you can do shady dealings behind fronts, that the back of the bar probably has some form of entering the warehouse where probably the bulk of the forces would be. Um, from which side will you approach the area?
Mm, probably from like alleyway, if there is one,
Mm-hmm.
just to
Are you
just to
going?
see if there's much people around.
Are you going to approach the alleyway near the bar first, or the warehouse?
Warehouse would be bigger, so more place to hide if it goes south.
Okay. Well, you park the car a couple of streets away. Um, Go down an alley, pass a few homeless people that sort of one of them sort of reaches out to you like, "Hey, you got some change, man?" And
I might give him like couple couple bills.
yeah, you take a couple of dollars from your pocket, just hand him over, and the guy just goes, "Hey, thanks," and he sort of looks around a bit disorganized and pockets the money. And as you pass uh, this homeless guy, you turn the corner and you see the warehouse in question. The windows on the warehouse are only at the top, like the second floor level. Um, that said, the door to the warehouse, if you proceed towards it, would basically be in front of an open street, locked door, then a garage door next to it.
Hmm. Is it well lit?
Just looking at the windows, it seems to be.
I mean the street.
Oh, you mean the alleyway or the street itself?
The street.
The street seems to be fairly well lit. This area of downtown is somewhat populated. There are a few people walking around, but you'd wager, from what you can hear, if there's any amount of, you know, illicit dealings within the warehouse, if they're making drugs in there, if they're tweaking and cleaning weapons or packing some stuff up that they shouldn't, all of that would be very, very easy to hear. You're hearing almost nothing. So it seems that the warehouse itself has some soundproofing, you'd wager.
Mm. If there was a way for Jack to turn into shadow and get there.
Oh, if
Right
there
now there
was.
isn't.
If there was.
Mm. I'm gonna like try to nudge the door a bit.
Try to
Probably. Just like to see if
nudge
it
the door.
opens.
You turn the handle, and at first it doesn't really open. It seems to be locked. That said, as you try the door, um, you hear someone from the other side unlock it, and then this really fucking beefy dude covered in tattoos just opens the door and says, "Who the fuck are you?"
I'm here to visit.
Doesn't really matter. Just go away if you know what's good for you. And he starts closing the door.
Why don't you let me in? I'm gonna use mesmerize.
Let me roll really quick to see if you actually catch his gaze.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you manage to sort of, as you start speaking, he sort of interprets that as tough guy talk and sort of looks you straight in the eye, trying to intimidate you. So you do catch his eyes, and you say,
Why don't you let me in? Will ya?
and you use mesmerize.
Yep.
Make your roll
Manipulation, leadership.
versus his willpower.
Let me check. Oh. Current willpower points. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Persuasive applies.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh.
2
Is that
successes,
correct if I
barely.
saw it? Yeah.
So you look into his eyes, and you say these words, and he, at first, seems to narrow his eyes and just look you straight in the eye and say, "Sure, you're just gonna get your ass kicked, though." And he
Well,
just
that's
lets
something to
go
worry
of the
about.
door, turns around, and starts walking further inside.
I'm gonna go around the corner and try to hide in shadows. Oh, I'm gonna use obfuscate.
Okay, so you just lightly push the door open, make your way inside, and after closing the door behind you, use obfuscate.
Yep.
Yep. Entering the room, it's like this small office area. And as the door closes and you use obfuscate, you just see the guy go to the end of the office area, open another door to a larger warehouse, and you just hear this buff dude go, "Hey, hey, yeah, we got someone looking for an invitation. Get a bat, please." And he sort of reaches out, turns around with a bat, and then just goes. He leans the bat towards the wall and starts heading towards the door again, locks it, and just leans back on it.
I'm gonna look him in the eye, like appear, look him in the eye, and go sleep.
Okay, roll.
That'd be manipulation and the intimidation, and I have difficulty lowered by one of my merits. Once again, it's persuasive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Yep. So you look him in the eye, and as you sort of pop into existence from his point of view, he sort of just jolts up and says, "What the?" And you just say, "Sleep." And it's almost like he still looks quite impressed and looks to the side to one of the chairs and just pulls the chair up, sits, and tries to like make himself comfortable, and still trying to make sense of the situation, and just closes his eyes and tries to make himself sleep.
Is his bed like on the other side of the warehouse?
Well, not the warehouse, but there's this small office area that leads to the larger warehouse, and the bat is like next to the wall, next to the door to the larger warehouse.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up the bat and like knock on the door with it.
Okay. You knock on the
Hello,
door.
boys.
There's no sound from the other side apart from what sounds like a lot of stuff moving.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kick the fucking door in.
Yeah. You kick the door and you see these basically rows of tables with a bunch of guys sort of assembling weapons and putting them into crates. And as the door gets kicked open, you just see everyone basically turn towards you with a sort of surprised look on their faces.
Hello, boys. I'm gonna talk with your fucking boss.
A couple of the guys just look at each other. One of them just goes, "You're fucking stupid" or something. And he reaches into his belt and seems to pull out a handgun and says, "Get the fuck out of here." And just points the gun
Right
at you.
here, right here. I'm just gonna open and close. Right here, please.
You really are fucking stupid.
Oh yes, I am, and I'm fucking crazy. Please.
Let me make a roll. That's yeah. He pulls the trigger, and there's like a, and you see the hammer sort of pull back, and it sort of jams on one of the cartridge, like a cartridge that's like half out. And the guy's just like, fucking. He reaches down and takes a crowbar and says, "Fine, old-fashioned way," and he starts making
fucking
his
go.
way to you.
And I'm gonna yeet his bat into his head with all of my fucking might.
Yep. Just just for general combat. Make a feat of Dex. So
Just
roll
dexterity?
willpower and add dexterity and whatever celerity you may have.
Permanent or current?
Current.
Oh, that'd be. So I roll five my willpower dices and then add dexterity dices.
Uh, roll willpower and whatever the result is, you add flat dex to it as successes.
I see. I see.
So
I
dex
have
minus
3
one.
dexterity.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
two
gonna be
successes. So essentially you let the guy approach to a certain extent, and before he reaches you, you just fucking throw the bat. He wasn't really expecting it. And now a quick question: are you killing people or just knocking them out?
This one I'm gonna knock, but if they're gonna start getting out of the hand, I'm not afraid to kill someone.
Okay. Well, self-defense, I'll say it's pretty low difficulty for a conscience roll, but you'll still have to roll conscience.
Yep.
Okay. So as the bat gets thrown and you knock this guy back, you sort of hear this whisper that you've heard before in your ear. Only this time it's a bit louder and a bit raspier, and it just says, "Weaklings." And you start feeling this urge to just murder everyone in the room.
Not right now. Hold it back.
A couple of other guys just say, "Bitch ass," and one of them pulls a rifle, and another one pulls a handgun, and one of them aims the gun at you and pulls the trigger. The bullet rushes towards you. Roll stamina, please, if you have fortitude at that.
Yep. That'd be stamina. Motherfucker.
Yeah. So you take one bashing, which that is half, so that's nothing.
Okay.
So the
Where does he hit me?
huh?
Where does it hit me?
It basically strikes you straight in the shoulder, and you just go like this, and after straightening your back a bit, you just pop your suit and the bullet falls off. At this point, I'm assuming you've already gotten some armor, so we're accounting for
I
that.
suppose.
So basically, for the stamina rolls, add 2 dice. Dex rolls produce 1. When it's not a feat of dex. You basically tap, the bullet falls off, and the guy with the rifle aims the rifle and pulls the trigger. Roll stamina.
It'd be 4 this time. Eh.
I think stamina rolls don't account for ones and tens. It's like virtues because it's a soaking roll. So that's 1 success technically. Which turns 2 bashing to 1 bashing, and that halved is nothing. So the bullets, a few whiz past you, and one of them hits you in the chest, and it sort of sticks into the armor and slightly pierces your skin. And you just look down and see basically this bullet piercing your suit.
So you're not gonna play nice. Okay. I'm gonna take the closest heavy object and yank it in the head of the guy with the rifle.
Okay. You take a few steps forward. You pass by the guy that had the crowbar. Just take the crowbar in your hand, sort of flip it in your hand. You throw it, and the crowbar hits the guy straight in the neck. And he sort of, like, reaches up and almost falls to the ground, drops his rifle. All the others start pulling guns, and we're talking like 10, maybe 15 guys in the room.
You wanna play dirty? Let's fucking play dirty. Shadow Metamorphosis, please.
As you look one of the guys like straight in the eyes and the shadows start to sort of go around you, you feel the entire room itself start to get darker. Everyone starts looking around. The guy who you're looking at looks straight at you, like petrified in fear. And the voice in your head just echoes, "Yes." And you feel these tentacles start to form around you. And go ahead.
Now I'm gonna ask one more fucking time. Where's your fucking boss?
No one really responds to you. Everyone seems to sort of be panicking. You hear one of them like, "What the fuck is that thing?" Another one just screams, "It's the devil!" Just throws the gun down, starts running away. Another one gets like super fucking scared, shoots a bit wildly, misses his shots, and starts backing away.
Now you. I point to the guy right in front of me. You wanna talk with, won't you?
You're talking to the guy on the floor.
Yeah.
He sort of shakes off his daze, then looks to you, gets very surprised, and starts reaching for a gun near him.
I'm gonna just take the gun with my tentacle. Not so fucking fast.
The guy just seems to be fucking petrified, trying to back away and not really being able to, as you sort of feel one of the tentacles with a mind of its own basically hold his foot and pull him back.
Be a good boy. Tell me where your fucking boss is. And you have chances to fucking survive.
As you're saying this, you feel a few bullets hit you from the side. They don't really do anything, it's mostly grazes. You sort of turn to see a few other guys with guns aiming them at you and pulling the triggers, but it doesn't really seem like a fair fight here.
Yeah. How about you two? Just get out. And
Is
let the big boys
this
talk.
intimidation or?
I suppose.
Yeah, let's just roll one quick charisma intimidation, and it's difficulty -3, so difficulty 2 at this point, really.
Have you considered my merit for the difficulty?
Let me double check.
My merit allows me. Oh, probably not gonna happen really because I'm.
Yeah, that already is sort of accounted for in this current situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. 3 successes.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
One of the guys just fucking sprints away. The other one just stands in place, sort of his hand shaking. He pulls the trigger on the rifle and it just clicks with no ammo. He sort of keeps clicking, and you sort of start noticing that he pisses himself.
So, anyone wanna fucking speak, or should I break some legs?
At some point, the door right at the far end of the warehouse opens, and you see this sort of scrawny, balding guy with a big scar on his cheek just go, "What the fuck is going on here?" And he looks around and then looks at you.
Hello. Hello, beautiful. We're gonna just talk for now. Just go to him, take him like by the shoulder, lift him, and close the door behind me with a tentacle.
As you start heading towards him, he seems to try and back out, and you notice that without really thinking, a few tentacles start sprouting out of the walls. One closes the door, and the other one sort of pierces the guy's shoulder and lifts him towards the wall, basically holding him by the shoulder. The guy sort of screams in panic and tries to like rip the tentacle off, but it's doing fucking nothing. And you do notice that this particular tentacle, these two tentacles that formed, they're sort of it's almost like they got joints. So you'll recognize what this is.
Yeah. Is there a chair in this room?
There are a few. Anyone else who might have contested you has run off, basically.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit on the chair, cross the legs, light a cigarette. Like, so we're on a talk, aren't we?
The guy just says, "The fuck are you?"
Consider me your fucking nightmare, for once.
As the guy is like pleading for his life, fucking crying, and bleeding from his shoulder, you just hear the voice in your head go, "He's weak. Silence him."
I wanna hear you talking, not fucking crying like a bitch. So be a man, please.
The guy pleads for his own life some more, and as he does so, you feel this sort of like a rage sort of boiling inside you. It's very controllable to you. But it's almost as if there's a second you who's really, really eager to just see this guy's guts spill to the floor rather than hear him speak. And eventually the guy just says, "Look, I don't know anything. Just I'll tell you whatever the fuck you want. Just don't kill me. I'll leave town. I'll you want money? I got some money. What do you want?"
Did he had a hit on some property? Or was it something like...
He performed a hit on one of Tappington's businesses.
You've got a hit on one property I'm really fucking interested in buying, but You fools decided to fucking shuffle it around, so spill the beans or spill the guts.
The guy just sort of panicked. He says, "That wasn't my job. I was paid off to look. I just have a small crew. Okay, I'm manning this shit for. Look, it's not me you're after." And as the guy continues to sort of cower, you feel the room getting a bit darker, and you see a few tentacles start to form without you thinking much about it. And these tentacles, once again, seem to have these appendages, these joints on them. And they sort of, some of them hit the tables and scratch on them. Some of them seem to sort of just, almost as if they're snakes just watching the guy. And you feel that while you do control them, you can tell them what to do. It's almost like they didn't appear because you wanted them to. They appeared because, there's a force out there that wants you to get this done.
So who did? Who told you?
Look, it was this guy. I didn't get his name. Look, he was working for some creepy fuck with a mask. Okay, I all I know is that he paid me with an envelope full of fucking cash, and he told me to hit the area with my crew, and that if I did, he'd give me some fucking side business. I don't have a name. I don't know who you're after.
But you have a location.
Look, please, just let me go. These people are fucking dangerous. And as he continues pleading for his life, the voice in your head gets louder. Crush him.
Just tell me the fucking location. Or where can I find him? If he promised you side jobs, you might have a good contact.
The guy seems to look around at the appendages slowly approaching him, and he says, "Baby, can you call these things off?"
Will you talk? I make them stop like a bit away from him.
The guy says, "Yeah, sure, I'll fucking talk. The guy you're looking for. He's at," and as he's about to say the address, you just hear the voice say, "Enough!" And all the tentacles basically pierce the guy's guts and rip him to shreds.
Yeah. Cooperation's not your fucking key.
You hear this echo again. He was weak. Nothing.
Yeah, but he had information.
Nothing could be
Information's good.
gained from him. He
Now you
is
tell me
weak.
the fucking location. Now I'm making you tell the fucking location.
Do not go after this.
Why?
You feel like there is a sort of reluctance to tell you anything.
Go on. We share this fucking head.
You're a host. It puts you in danger.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not endangering my host.
Yeah. You're not really cooperating either.
We can do things without these weaklings. I can give you someone you can hit.
I wasn't here today to hit someone. I was here today doing fucking business. You know, kinda deal with the devil.
Business can be done. I know a location that will appease your shadow brother. Of course, I could point you to something else. Something better.
Better in what fucking way?
Appeasing this creature you want to make prince. He's weak, non-cooperative. He'll take advantage of you and you will gain nothing. Once he's prince, he'll toss you to the side.
Oh.
Unless you hit something that is beneficial to you.
And how do I know you're not bullshitting me?
I protect the host.
Let me just ponder this question for a second, but I have a question in return. Were you really a fucking angel?
There's sort of this guttural growl as all the limbs sort of point at you and then they start retracting towards the walls and the room becomes lighter and lighter.
Oh, did I fucking stroke the chord? I'm so sorry. I'm really not.
And it seems the presence is silent. All the tentacles that remain are absolutely yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna dispel the Tenebrous form. Is it wait? Yeah.
I'll
Black
just say you
Focus.
can dispel it whenever you want. It's fine.
I'm gonna search around for any information.
You look on what's left of the guy's remains, and after searching his coat, you find this envelope. Seems to have a few bills left. Most of the money seems to have been spent. Looking to the address from which the to which the envelope was sent, you recognize the building. It's a business up north. And as you think about it for a moment, you know that it's in the demon-infested area. Or the area infested by demonic influence.
You don't want to talk with your fucking siblings. I see. Yeah, if humans and vampires are unpleasant cunts, I can guess how cunty your relatives are.
Do you continue investigating?
Yeah, I'm gonna search for anything more I can find here.
Roll me a wits investigation. This will basically decide what information or how much information you find before the cops get here.
Yeah, I don't have investigation.
So it's a higher difficulty, so just wits.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Damn, okay. So you got 4 successes. It's that -1 because you're using an action to just bolt before the cops get here, I'm assuming? Or are you murdering some pigs?
Nah.
Okay. So you look around. First thing you notice is that the boxes, some of them have sort of stickers with a number of details about where they're coming from, where they're going, where they're supposed to be transported to. you get another address to a place in Santa Monica. It's close-ish to the pier, you'd wager, from the name. But you memorize it because I know you have a merit that allows you to memorize this shit very easily.
Yeah.
You commit it to memory. You have this address. You can then look up details about it. Another, by the way, make notes of these things because I have a list of stuff you can find here. I'll need you to then tell me what I gave you here. So you find this address. Another thing you find is you go to the trucks. You open the door, look into anything within the truck, and opening the glove box, you find a gun, and you find what looks like a small Nokia cell phone, like one of those blocky phones. You pocket it, knowing that you can later get into it and get some information there. And after looking around, you end up examining one of the weapons. All the weapons that seem to be traded here seem to be base models. However, along with the base model, in each box comes a modification. And the modification, after you look at it, you don't really recognize what each of these are for. Actually, you can roll wits and firearms if you have any firearms at all.
I don't have firearms.
Then you may not roll. You don't recognize
Should
what these things are for.
Judging by the background, but don't have.
Damn. Knowledge lost with time, we can just say.
Yeah.
But you don't really recognize what these modifications are for. But looking them over, eventually you do spot that one of them has sort of a not stamped, it has sort of an engraving of a logo. And at first you don't really recognize it, just looks familiar. And then it sort of clicks in your mind. This is the logo of Crowfield Arms.
Yeah, I'm gonna snatch one of them as well.
One of the modifications?
Yeah, if it fits in a pocket.
Yeah, they're about this big at most. Some of them are longer. Some of them are shorter but blockier. Some of them are sort of this big. Seem to be attached to the side. Some are attached to the top.
Yeah.
You take one of the. Basically, tell me you want one of the thin ones that attaches to the side. You want one of the long ones that attaches to the barrel, or do you want one of the ones that attaches to the top?
So magazine.
One looks more like a sort of laser attachment, but you don't see really a laser, and you've only seen that shit in movies, really. You don't really have adults in firearms to know this shit.
Didn't have that back in the day.
One of them looks sort of like a suppressor, but it's way too thin to be a suppressor. And another one looks like a scope, but scopes for sniper rifles tend to be very long. This one's blocky and short and stubby, and it has sort of a box between the... Yeah, and instead of being like a long tube, it's one tube, and then a block in the middle.
I don't know. I'll take whatever looks compatible with my handgun.
None of them really do. But you can roll int. You don't have firearms, so it'll be higher difficulty. But you can roll int to see if.
7 plus.
So, yeah, you don't have any successes. You don't think any of them would be useful for your handgun.
Yeah, let's just go with the silencer.
Silencer, okay. Yeah. Well, you take this barrel attachment. You're not really sure what it's supposed to do. You put it in your coat pocket, and as you do, you start hearing sirens approach.
Yeah, time to fucking dib.
You leave through the front door and back away into the alley, And as you make your way through the alleyway, the homeless guy that you gave money to sees you run past, and he just looks to you and says, looks to you and does. And you run to your car, and as you start to drive off, you see the homeless guy on the floor being cuffed by the cops, and he seems to be laughing his fucking ass off as the money you gave him just falls from his pocket.
Yeah.
And
Power of fucking money.
hmm?
Power of fucking money.
Yeah, you essentially drive off, and the voice in your head rears again and says, "You know, I can help you. You don't have to go there."
How can you?
There are things your cousin is looking for. Things he wants. We can force his hand rather than make him like us.
That sounds like my stuff.
No need for empathy when you have power.
What's your name again?
And the voice just quiets down.
Yeah, I'll stop on fucking traffic light. I tap in the wheel. If you don't give me the address, I have only one, and you didn't like that one.
First, go to the hotel he gave you. If you go there, I can get you the address you need. He has secrets. Everyone does. I can get you those secrets.
Is it far from hotel?
5 to 10 minutes if you speed a bit. 15 if you don't.
Let's go.
Yep. You start driving towards the hotel. And even when you sort of make the decision to do that, you feel this sort of gleeful presence near you in the back of your mind. You reach the hotel, and it's a pretty high-end hotel. You can tell right from the get-go as you approach the building. Has this really lush looking bushes and parks near the entrance. It sort of has a walkway, and then it has these doors with sort of golden-ish handlebars. And beyond the glass doors, you see this really large lobby with plenty of like really lavish decoration. The rugs are like nice in a strong, thick velvet red. And you see that the floor is marble, the walls are covered in paintings and cloths. It's really fucking lavish. And atop the entrance, right there, it says the Moxie Hotel.
Best part, it's an Elysium, so technically, even Sabbat allowed there.
Mm-hmm. So you walk inside?
Yeah, I'm gonna. If my little angel doesn't give me any more instructions, I'm gonna check in and then under the name Stefan gave me.
Mm-hmm.
which
You
is actually
approach.
Aaron Dion.
Yep. You approach the front desk, and the gentleman there seems to be typing something. He stops immediately as you approach and says, "Good evening, and welcome to the Moxie. How can I help you?"
I have a room booked here. Aaron Dion.
Of course. He seems to type for a few moments and then says, "There we go." And he takes a key. You see that behind him there's a few rows with keys. There are like two doors that shut and then you lock them. And he seems to take something from underneath the desk instead and places a physical key instead of a key card like the others. Places a physical key on top of the desk and says, "There you go. Third floor. Turn to your right after the elevator. Enjoy your stay." And he gives you sort of a knowing nod.
I'm gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna.
You
Yeah, even if the fucking elevator has mirrors.
you go inside. It doesn't have mirrors. Instead, the elevator is sort of decorated to match the lobby. Clearly, it's not like with stone walls and floor, but it's sort of decorated to look like it. And as you start going to the third floor, you hear the voice in the back of your mind say, "Next person you see, whisper in their ear. I will speak for you."
Okay.
And eventually you reach the third floor. The door opens. You exit, and as you turn to go to the room, you see someone walking down the corridor with their date. They seem to be finely dressed, and the guy sort of adjusts his shirt and says, "Come on, we're gonna be late."
I'm gonna walk past him and like lean and do the whisper.
Yeah. And what do you say when you whisper?
I've got a message for you.
Yeah. You feel yourself say, "I've got a message for you." The sound that comes from your mouth is not that. It's words you can't even comprehend. But you feel like yourself motioning the words you wanted to say. You feel the air react as if you're saying these things. But the words that sound out, it's not even your voice. And it's almost like even a little delayed. And after you say these things, the guy doesn't seem to really react. Though the girl sort of looks to you kind of weirded out.
Good night. I'm gonna walk to my room.
You enter the room, and inside, you see that the room is fully prepared for you. As was described, the room is sunproofed, and on the bed there is a small box that seems to be sort of a very well presented gift box with a ribbon on top.
Interesting. Let's see what the present is.
You open the box, and there is a note and a ring inside. And the note says, "Here's to a fruitful alliance." And the ring, as you look to the outside of it, it seems to be a decorated black and gold ring. When you sort of turn it and look at the inside of the ring, you see that there are three rows of letters and one row of symbols on the center. And you notice that if you play with it, it sort of, all the pieces sort of move a little. And you realize that this is basically a cipher ring.
It's gonna be useful.
Um,
Does it like fit on a pinky?
yeah.
Left one, please.
Yep. And as you finish playing with the ring, you slide it on. And as you do, you hear a knock at the door of the hotel.
Of my room or like?
The room, sorry, the hotel room.
I'm gonna like open a bit. Yep.
As you open the door, you see the guy you whispered the information to, and he just sort of with a glassy look on his face, he looks down and just hands you a sheet of paper, and you notice that there's a faint smell of blood coming from him.
Can I recognize if he's a Cainite?
Make a quick wits medicine, please.
I have only wits, so
That's fine.
Yep,
Just
I
a harder difficulty.
nah.
It's still one success because the guy is standing pretty close to you. If he is Cainite, he's currently pretending not to be and using his blood to mimic human functions, as you feel that he has sort of a warm breath that sort of almost touches your face.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and as you take the note, you notice that his hand is sort of a little shaky, and as he turns, you notice that he has a slight cut on his hand, and he just turns and starts walking down the corridor.
Not ominous at all.
Yep. You close the door,
Mm-hmm.
and as you unfold the sheet of paper, you see that sort of scribbled in blood is an address. And the voice whispers in your ear and says, "That is the location of one of Taffington's assets, one of his human assets. It's also someone he values."
And your plan is?
Their life is not really worth much. But Taffington thinks it is. Threaten this person. Capture them. And Taffington will do whatever you tell him to.
First got created greed, not fucking anything prior to that. I'm gonna remember the address
Mm-hmm.
and ponder the question really hard. Is it worth it for me?
Okay. And as you ponder, we will leave Jack for tonight. And instead, we will be joining another member of the pack as they drive straight into Santa Monica. Titus, as you make your way through the streets of Santa Monica, driving a car that you very handily stole. You feel the sort of weight in your vest as the explosives you've attached to it almost feel heavier than they actually are, as if you're carrying a burden that will cause real change for once. What is the prevalent thought in your mind?
I'm gonna make it right. I'm gonna make everything right today.
Yeah. And perhaps you will, as the car speeds up through one of the streets and turns to reveal at the end of that street the same building where Kian dragged you into that otherworldly dimension. And to a certain extent, you yearn for it. But simultaneously, it's really hard for you to ignore this very basic instinct that you have where it's everything in your being is telling you that this is wrong, that you need to stop what you're about to do.
And that's my beast calling me to stop what I'm doing.
It's
So,
an instinct you have.
and I shall suppress this feeling and will move forward.
Yeah. And as you approach the building, you see that it's currently operational. That's the top floor has some lights on. There are some workers in, and the ground floor also has a few lights on. Though it seems not every floor is currently operational. It seems that it's basically got a skeleton crew right now. Probably workers that stayed up late.
Titus will stealthily move to the upper floors.
Well,
The one that has, the one that has lights on, and it's kind of suspicious that at this time it's operational at such high floors.
Well, you approach the front door of the building, and you try the door. It seems locked. And after a moment, thinking of how you're going to surpass this, you hear a beep, and the door unlocks for you.
And I shall enter.
Yeah, you enter the building, and you hear some tapping on computers around the hallways. And at the end, to your right, there is a elevator doors that surely would lead you up to the top floor.
I'll nonchalantly use the elevator.
You call the elevator. Again, it seems to require a key card or some form of electrical authorization to activate the elevator, but as you click the button and it doesn't seem to work, after you sort of look around seeing if you're trying to get if you're actually getting any attention, the elevator button sort of clicks with the light on, and you hear it ding, and the door is open for you.
And I'll enter the elevator door.
You click to go to the top floor. As you do, the elevator moves up, and you wonder why you seem to be given access to this building. someone in this building is giving you enough access to move to where you want to go. You wonder who it might be. Currently, what are your thoughts?
Titus has suspicions that it may be someone he knows. It could be Camarillo, it could just be his new CEO of Crowfield Arms, his mother.
Mm-hmm. And as you exit the elevator, you see that there are a couple of offices with glass walls, mainly conference rooms that seem to be empty. At the end of one of the corridors, you see this sort of executive office where there's one guy making a phone call. He seems very frustrated and sort of gesturing every time he speaks, and he's pacing around the room. And to the other end, you see a bunch of rooms that are dark, and then one office at the end, with simply the tag on the door saying CEO, and the lights in that office are on, though all the shutters are closed. So all the blinds are closed.
Well, there's now no other choice. I'll enter the CEO room.
Mm-hmm. And as you do, you are faced with your mother sitting at the office desk with a gun resting on it. Again, it's one of those modified weapons that you've seen in the past, and she seems to be staring you down as she rests back on her chair and saying, "I wasn't expecting you to come here. Though at the same time, I had a feeling we'd see each other eventually."
Yeah, it's feelings mutual. So this is the first time I see you after father's death.
Yeah. Did you actually kill him?
It's complicated. So what actually happened
Did
is
you actually kill him?
he died because of me. But it was an accident.
Why did you run?
Well, as usual, we had a fight over this company. I didn't really want it to be a part of it, and I just fought back, and I went too far. I didn't know it will kill him. And plop, he's dead. I had no choice. I had to run away, hide in the streets,
You
become
had
a thug.
you had a choice, Titus. You could have reached out to me. You could have reached out to any of your family members. This is not the first incident we would have made disappear. You could have reached out, but you didn't.
Lots of wrong choices were made, but today I'll do at least one correct choice.
Hard to believe that. You're one of them now, aren't you?
That's true. I'm no longer alive. It's been a year. It's been a whole year now. Look at me. Look at what I have become. Look at my eyes. But I do have also a question. Are you also one of them?
No. Are you even my son still?
I'd say that at this point, I'm just a shell. I have his memories, but I'm more of a monster than your son.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm part of a group that knows about all of you now. Yeah, we figured that out now. And
Yeah,
no one
about
else
drones.
knows.
So you're with the hunters then?
Hunters. No. No. It's something else. We figured out because one of you rats got careless. We got some information. We managed to tie a few strings together, including an agent of ours. He was around town. He had a place down in Chinatown a few years ago. He died, and in the investigation, we managed to get our hands on this ugly bastard. We got all the information we needed. We managed to figure out that there's a whole lot of you hiding among us. And we will destroy all of you. Especially because you took my son and you took my husband. I will make you disappear. I will.
That's why I'm here. That's why I told you. Today I'll do at least one thing correct.
If you kill me, what do you think will happen?
I will not kill you.
Then how do you plan to make this right?
You will just kill me. That's all. That's why I'm here.
I see. So you came here expecting me to shoot you?
Of course. But I do have one last proposal. You may refuse it, it's fine. You can just shoot me and it'll end. If you think I'm still Titus, I'd like to at least try to feel the warmth. But you're free to refuse, it's fine.
Do you remember that treehouse your dad made for you when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd play there every day. And he would always look out the window. And he'd tell me, Sarah, you don't even know the potential that kid has. One day he'll be the head of the family. He'll have his own kids. And he'll own an empire. An empire that we left him and that he will grow. An empire that he will strengthen. Now you're at the end of a barrel of a gun designed by that very company. And it hurts me that I'm gonna be the one pulling the trigger. And she takes the gun and slowly stands up. You see that when she does stand up, she has to sort of like lean forward and make an effort. Seems the year and all the stress of the situation you left her in wasn't really kind to her. And as she stands up holding the gun, she takes a few steps towards you. Do you do anything?
Put my hands to the side as if I want to give a hug.
She turns to you, tears streaming down her face. And she seems like she wants to say something, but instead she just shakes her head and slowly brings the gun up. pointing it at you, holding it with both hands, and they're clearly shaky.
You have to man up. That's the only choice you have.
Okay.
Who knows when I won't be able to control the beast inside me. I'm trying my best at this point. I'm trying to suppress this feeling. This beast wants. It screams. It tells me to kill, to slaughter you at every millisecond of thoughts, and I'm suppressing it all with my willpower. You have to do it.
Okay. So, I will give you two choices now. First choice, you will actually spend willpower to keep yourself from escaping this death sentence, because your instincts will force you to escape. Your second option is to roll conviction to betray the code of ethics you've adopted to go on this path. And if you roll conviction, you're essentially trying to mentally justify this in your mind, to try and trick yourself into believing that this is the right way to follow. But the roll is incredibly difficult. Like, it's really high difficulty.
Well, I'll still try to roll conviction.
Okay. Roll it. And you're not spending willpower to hold off.
Of course not.
Okay. Oh. You got one success. Okay. You basically shrug off the idea that this is completely against what you believe. You try to tell yourself that you failed to follow this path, and if you're basically putting yourself in a position where you may die from this, and if you survive, you'll consider this a lesson not to fuck up again. That's the only justification that you can find in your mind. And as you sort of try to shut your eyes and justify it to yourself, you open them to see your mother with the gun pressed against your forehead. Again, her hands are shaking, and she just closes her eyes, and you see her finger pulling the trigger. What is the last thought that goes through your mind before the gun goes off?
Good riddance.
Okay. And as the mechanism on the gun fires, that is where we'll end our session tonight. These were the preludes for 3 of the characters, Titus, Amadeus, and Jack. And next week, we'll have the preludes for the last 2 characters before the start of the next season. I hope you all enjoyed, and we hope to see you joining us next week. Have a good one.